Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this year's coverage of the NFL Draft. Before we get started with the London Black Knights' first overall selection, let's take it up to our two analysts in the studio to assess the off-season needs of the London Black Knights and where they might go with the first overall selection. Take it away, guys.
To put it as kindly as possible, the London Black Knights just might have been the biggest insult to the football world since the first 26 games of Tampa Bay's existence. The offense was putrid. All three quarterbacks on the roster threw double-digit interceptions. The run game was almost non-existent at times. The offensive line couldn't keep it together, and the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Expect tons of upgrades. Maybe the Black Knights decide to retool their entire offensive front, or maybe they take a new signal caller in this draft. I wouldn't be surprised if any more investments on the back end were had. Generally, you could make any selection for the London Black Knights and improve them tremendously from last season. They already fired last year's head coach and gave the social media manager a very, very stern warning about outcomes this year. It'd be interesting to see where the London Black Knights pick, and speak of the devil, the pick is in. Let's take it down to the draft room to see the social media manager Bard Bardison announce the London Black Knights draft selections. We'll be up here breaking them down. Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Bard Bardison. I am the social media manager for the London Black Knights franchise. I will be announcing each of the London Black Knights draft picks over the next 3 days. With the first pick in this year's NFL draft, the London Black Knights select Silk Bear, quarterback, Wake Forest. Well, there you have it. The London Black Knights taking a quarterback. First overall, Silk Bear, the signal caller from Wake Forest. Now, he was actually a 3-year transfer student. His first year was at UCLA, then he transferred over to USC, and then spent his final year with the Demon Deacons. He stated as saying, quote, "Everyone could use some Silk Bear in their lives." You gotta love that generous, spread the ball around mentality from a player like this. And it's about the little things as well. Silk Bear is also a budding R&B artist, and his smooth melodies may keep his team loose between rough snaps. And I think that is also valuable to this team as well. Either way, let's take it down right back to Bard Bardison, because we are already up to the second pick. With the 33rd pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Grayson Wolf, linebacker, Wofford. So how about that? The London Black Knights upgrade the middle of their linebacking core, selecting Grayson Wolf out of Wofford. Now this kid is something special. A pack-like mentality, eyeing over the center of the field, or can come in a three-point stance off the edge and pounce at the quarterback. This is a very nice pick from the Black Knights that can pay off twofold. Did you just do all that so you can make a bunch of wolf puns? Oh look, it's the third round selections in. Let's get ahead and get to that. With the 65th pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Armand Hammer, defensive end, Virginia Tech. The London Black Knights struggled mightily on defense last season, and part of that is due to the fact that the defensive line both couldn't generate any kind of pressure on the quarterback as well as contain runs. And they hope sprinkling a little bit of Armand Hammer into that scheme will drastically turn things around this season. Armand Hammer may be a little undersized for the position, but don't let that lack of size make you think he's not intense. There's a reason he's getting taken this high in the draft, and I think the Black Knights know that. With the 101st pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Little John, guard from Duke. Not to be confused with Lil John, the cornerback out of Auburn. Little John, the guard out of Duke, is a massive upgrade for this Black Knights offensive line. 6'5", 320 pounds, and just look at this tape. The strength, the intensity, the post-game attire. Hand placement will be an issue, as seen from this stick-fighting drill. But as long as he's not needed in times of war, he could be a massive anchor for this O-line for a very long time. With the 141st pick in this year's NFL Draft, can I continue? The 141st pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Rubius Haggard, guard, Oxford University. The crowd did not like that selection one bit. There are ties to a certain writer who is based on a certain character's brother of this player. But unfortunately, it hasn't came to pass. But the London Black Knights couldn't pass on the opportunity for a 7-foot, 395-pound half giant on their team. He's listed as a guard, but they would probably be best to transition him to center, because nobody, no edge rusher, no defensive player in this draft is gonna bull rush this man. You have an absolute safety blanket up front for QB sneaks and halfback draws, and this is a fantastic pick as long as Haggard can stay healthy and not haggardly. With the 177th pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Elwood Gutworthy, tackle, UCLA. Come on, we'll throw things. Uh-oh, the crowd did not like that one bit. With the third straight pick on the offensive line, it looks like the London Black Knights are trying to retool their whole offensive front for this year. And how about going from a half giant to a 5-foot, 250-pound dwarf as a tackle? Definitely a pick that has a head scratcher. And he definitely has some interesting chop block variations, let's put it that way. But the Black Knights had to have seen something in him to take him at this position. And we do have our 7th round choice, and unless the Black Knights start shopping, they better make this last pick worth it. Let's take you right back to Bard Bardison, who I'm fearing for his safety right now. Let's see what the next selection is. With the 216th pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Milton Townsend, kicker, Fort Hays State. Well, the London Black Knights had a need. John Potter left the London Black Knights in free agency. Seeing as he was the leading point scorer on the team, he definitely had some leverage in the matter. But now, Milton Townsend, out of Fort Hays State, the same college as Black Knights quarterback Herb Humperdinck. It would be interesting to see if the Black Knights sign another kicker to compete with Townsend, or if he's just going to win the job outright. He has a solid leg, but accuracy is an issue. So that was the last pick on the London Black Knights draft board. So now we can get to breaking down the... Hold on a second. Whoa, 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 whoa. It looks like the Black Knights have traded back into the draft. There's someone they're still looking at, apparently. Let's take you down to Bart Bardison. The Cleveland Browns have traded the 224th selection to the London Black Knights. With the 224th pick in this year's NFL Draft, the London Black Knights select Skylar Jamison, wide receiver, William and Mary. Well, how about it? The London Black Knights, via the Cleveland Browns, trade back into the 7th and take wide receiver Skylar Jamison out of William and Mary. I'm not really sure why they went and jumped for this kind of player. Nothing really jumps out either on the stat sheet or in the measurables or in the combine. But you gotta thank the Black Knights. Any extra ammunition they can get in the wide receiver room is definitely more useful than shooting blanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in to our coverage of the London Black Knights NFL Draft selections. Please stay tuned on the London Black Knights Facebook page for more transactions, and we'll get back to you guys with roster predictions shortly. Thank you all for joining us.